My father was from a little town in North Carolina called Oriental, North Carolina, which is on the coast of North Carolina, from Hilton Head, in that area of the resort places. You know, and my father's family, they were mostly fishermen. And my mother's family was from Middle Georgia, Macon, Georgia, was the city that she was born in. So was I. I guess I was born back in 1948. When my mother passed away, on vacation in 1950, I was about I think I wasn't even in the Boy Scout. I was in scouting, and I was probably about 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old. I started scouting when I was 10. She was on vacation in New York City with my aunts from Philadelphia, and she got really sick, and it was in the wintertime. And you know, people coming up from Georgia in the winter to Georgia is not cold, you know, like 65, 70 in the summer, in the winter. And people didn't have coats and stuff. My mother didn't have coats. She didn't know what coats were, you know, in the cold weather. And she got seriously sick. She had pneumonia. And this was the early 50s. When you get pneumonia, you live. And her resistance went down, and she died on vacation. You know, here I am, like 8 years old. I'd been around my mother all my life, and I loved her so much. And you know, when she left, I said, well, you know, I got to do something with my life. And I started the Boy Scouts when I was like 1958, because I couldn't be a Cub Scout. And from 1958 up until 1964, that span of about 6 years, and for 69 years, I did something that most people couldn't do, couldn't make it to the rank of an Eagle Scout during that time. And I started at regular Scout, being a Star Scout, being a Light Scout, and finally being an Eagle Scout in the Order of the Arrow. And that's when the Order of the Arrow is like being Knights of Columbus in the Catholic Church. You know, you join an organization beyond the Eagle Scouts, at the Boy Scouts of America. And what I had to do, I had to excel in everything, do at least 2 to 3 things times more than what was required for me to be an Eagle Scout. And being one of the first Eagle Scouts in the state of Georgia, the racism towards me was just horrible. As I told Father Kennedy once, you know, my situation with being an Eagle Scout, my pictures was in the newspaper, the Atlanta Constitution, the Macon Telegraph, all of the newspapers around the central and northern part of Georgia. The Ku Klux Klan burned a cross in my grandmother's yard. The week before, the Eagle Scout pin was going to be pinned on me. But that was a real traumatic time in my life, you know, and it was a celebratory time in my life as well, because I did something that I wanted to do, and I wanted to show people, hey, look, you know, being black, being brown, it doesn't stop you from, you know, achieving the goals that you want to achieve in life. I left high school like 1966 and went to college at Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee. And that was a historically black college and university, which I had, you know, never been exposed to other than going up to Atlanta, being around a lot of the black colleges and seeing a lot of the black, you know, the collegians there, Morehouse and Spelman, Clark, Morehouse, those places. And I was quite impressed, you know. And even though I didn't go to those schools there in Georgia, I wanted to leave Georgia anyway, because I was real just kind of depressed living in a state where the racism was just horrible. And I saw that I couldn't excel and couldn't do things, you know, like the white students could do. I mean, couldn't go places. We wasn't welcome in certain places. And that got to be a real problem with me. Even the church, I just, you know, I kind of felt really bad about being Catholic. I was a real radical young man. I think the racism did that to me. You know, it wasn't hate or anything like it. It was, to an extent it was, but you know, it's just that because of the racism was just so intense to where I grew up at, and I just saw things that I just knew wasn't right, and I couldn't do anything about it, and that was really the bad part during the time that I was growing up.
The civil rights movement had a profound change on American life, society, and culture. How did this movement affect your life, and did the movement affect your personal faith or your person?
The movement itself, like I always been kind of a radical. And anything that I saw that was, like from a radical point of view or which is in today's times about, the LGBT, community that was like, like racism back during the Jim Crow era back in the early 50s. I just felt that it was time, for the changes to come where people were recognized, like as being people and who they are. African American mean to me being like an individual that has, in my days, as I've grown up to be the man that I've become, with the ups and the downs, the goods and the bads, we are the African American people are people that have, I always tell people that we can't be denied. We're strong. Our minds are bold. We deny it. Most of us deny that. Hey, look, you can't turn us back. Dr. Martin Luther King said, he got to the mountaintop, and I think we're all trying to get to that mountaintop. To look over it and say, hey, here we are. We are people. We are people like all people, and it's just amazing that how like I have overcome, like so many, difficulties in life. Letting people see, hey, look, I'm a real person just like you. I might not look like you, but I think like you, I talk like you, I pray like you, and African Americans are the same way, and we are just hopefully we'll be in heaven with all the other folk that look for that eternity, life everlasting.